Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. As promised in the last video, this is a news I missed video. For those of you who weren't here, I used to do a lot of these, especially when the cryptocurrency market was like drowning in news, which we currently kind of are, but I've been giving the more important news as of late, and I've kind of been skipping over things that really weren't super important. So I decided to bring it back. A lot of people were asking me just for extra videos because they're at home not doing much. So to provide you with some, I don't want to say comical relief, a lot of this news is actually kind of serious, just some kind of relief, I brought back news I missed. Yeah, and without further ado, let's jump right into it because a lot of it is pretty insane. So the new US, so this is alleged. This first part is allegedly this is what happened. The new US Senator for Georgia and former CEO of Bitcoin derivatives exchange known as Bakkt sold between $1.3 million and $3.2 million in stock following a private Senate briefing on what's going on in the world right now. Senator Kelly Loeffler and husband Jeffrey Sprecher, the founder and CEO of Intercontinental Exchange, which owns the New York Stock Exchange, as well as Bakkt, made a total of 29 transactions in the weeks after the 24th of January briefing. So pretty much they had a briefing on what's going on in the world right now. And apparently, knowing what was going to happen, they started selling off their stock before the stock markets had even started going down. In a statement, ICE said Loeffler and Sprecher had made clear that those transactions were executed by their financial advisors without Mr. Sprecher's or Senator Loeffler's input or directions, and that the trades complied with company policies. According to the Senate Financial Disclosure website, the two sold shares in, I'm not reading out all the names of these companies. The transactions valued range from $1,000 to $500,000 US. The total sum up to a fraction of her net worth of $500 million US. Must be nice. Loeffler and Sprecher both jointly brought shares of Citrix, which offers a teleworking product, and Oracle. The two individually also brought shares of Blackstone Real Estate Investment Trust. This news, it wasn't really everywhere, but it was kind of big. I got messages from both of my friends, both of my good friends in the States, within minutes of each other. It was kind of incredible. The news is that allegedly, no one knows for certain. I mean, there are people on this planet who know the truth as the people who did it or did not do it. We are getting news that apparently a couple of weeks ago, people were informed of what was going to take place, and as such, a number of people began to sell off their stocks before the stock market had even thought about going down, which is a little weird, because then you get accusations of insider trading. This is why I said no one knows if this is what's going on. Both have vehemently denied that they had any knowledge of what was going on. Who's to know? Who's to say? But it does seem a little weird that the timing just doesn't seem correct, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, these are actually huge accusations to say that someone would know what was going to take place, that it would be something detrimental, and they made sure to line their pockets before it actually ended up taking place. So yeah, that's the first news that I missed, and it's a major one because everyone, imagine knowing that catastrophe is going to strike and you only warn people in your chat group and not the other people. I mean, it kind of is what it is. Anyway, that's the first one. Okay, next up. This is also tying directly almost into it. Allegedly, an apocalyptic account of Goldman Sachs's investee call went viral on social media faster than what's going on right now. And now the investment bank wants to set the record straight. The story snowballed after first being reported in a Reddit post on the 15th of March. It has since been shared countless times on social media platforms. User, his name is Not Today Monk, posted that his friend had just got off of a Goldman Sachs investee call where 1,500 of their investee companies had dialed in. He listed several takeaways from the call, the most significant of which was a prediction of an economic collapse within the next 6 to 8 weeks. Like I said, this is all alleged. He said a friend of mine got off a Goldman Sachs investee call where 1,500 of their investee companies dialed in. Most of you guys don't probably care about the investment outlook, but here are the key takeaways. He said over the next 6 to 8 weeks, they expect a global economic collapse. They expect that a lot of, you can read the screen and yeah, I would read the screen for a lot of these. I can't say the C word. Major economies will be impacted. Global GDP growth rate will be the lowest in 30 years. And the S&P 500 will see a negative growth of -15 to -20%. And stock markets will only recover in the second half of this year. Right. Patrick Scanlan, vice president of the corporate communications at Goldman Sachs, sent the following statements to Cointelegraph, distancing themselves from the reported comments. They said the comments being circulated on social media talking about what we were talking about were prepared by an unidentified author. They were not authorized and contain erroneous information and attribution. On the 12th of March, the firm's chief economist and chief medical officer held a call for clients during which they talked about information during what they knew. During the call, various statements of the Jesus, a lot I can't read. The market and economic views presented on the call were consistent with current published research views. So, another bit of news. To be fair, listen. We've spoken about an economic downturn, a recession, a breakaway from previous prices. Stirring my tea, it's kind of pretty. A couple of times. I mentioned before, we spoke about before, in 2019, there were a couple of companies who had noted that there would be an economic downturn. I'll put it to you this way. If we get banks and institutions talking about where they think that Bitcoin is going to go over the next 2 years, and Bitcoin has only been around for 11 years, one can only assume that they probably do a bit more due diligence when it comes to the traditional financial markets and where they have their money. The entire point being, we're getting a lot of these floating around that apparently, not that people knew what was going to happen, but they saw the signs, they reacted, and now people are a bit angry because if this all does continue onward for the next couple of months, we are going to see a very dramatic economic outlook crumbling, fall apart worldwide. There are already a lot of people around the world who have lost their jobs, are going to lose their jobs. I know a couple of people who already have, and it's expected that this is going to continue on. So when you get people, like I said, allegedly selling their stocks and stuff early and making millions while everyone else is kind of stuck in the mud and the quicksand, yeah, it's there's so much I want to say, but I can't. But it's fascinating what's taking place. During 2008 and 2009, there were a lot of people who were in very similar situations. I know someone, I don't think he listens to the channel. He won't mind me saying this either way. His parents owned a company in 2008, and they were in the business of selling parts, like any part you could possibly imagine, to build homes. Wood, metal, nails, this, bricks, everything. They were making tons of money. Around 2006, a company came up to them and they were like, "Hey, do you want to sell this company you're doing, guys? You guys are doing pretty well." And they were like, no, not really. 2008 rolled around and the guy was like, "Listen, I really want this company. You're doing incredibly well. I want to do exactly what you're doing." They were like, "Listen, we're getting older. 2 years ago we said no, but now, sure, let's do it." They did it. They sold. All the paperwork was signed. And I think 3 or 4 months later, the economy collapsed and they made bank. They made millions of dollars from this. But It's the same exact way. Do you guys, there's an artist, his name is Damien Hirst. He makes very expensive art. So this, I mean, whatever, we're already here. I'm already telling you the story, so let's go for it. He was already a very big artist in the early 2000s. Around 2007, 2008, his popularity was like incredibly high. He became this like, he could do no wrong no matter what he did. Some of his art pieces were complete nonsense, but he could do no wrong in the eyes of art. He went behind the back of his manager, the person who helped him sell at galleries, and he actually contacted, I believe it was Sotheby's, the major auction house, and was like, listen, let's sell some stuff together. Who cares about my manager? Let's do it together. And they were like, sure, okay, money, sure, fine, okay. Took a whole bunch of his pieces, and they had an auction one night. Beautiful auction, sold a whole bunch of his pieces, 20 million, 15 million, 8 million for this. I think I forgot the millions that he made. I don't want to check it on my phone because I'm talking to you guys. I forgot how much money he made. It was astronomical. Do you know what happened the very next morning? The very next morning. It was a stock market crash. The very next morning. And all these people had locked in their bids. And when you lock in a huge bid like that, even if you've never been to like an auction house or something like that, you have to put like down, you have to put a deposit, and you have to kind of say like, if I bid, I'm going to pay the money, or you get like a huge penalty and it's usually not worth it. Yeah, this guy made millions the day before, like the auction ended around like 7 or 8 o'clock. Everybody celebrated. It was super huge. They partied 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Everyone went home. 8 o'clock, markets open, recession. Isn't that nuts? And actually, even after that, even crazier is that he became like the word isn't pariah. People started hating him in the art world because they thought he had something, like he knew. Damien Hirst, I don't think, is smart enough to know that there was going to be an economic downturn. But yeah, for a couple of years, people did not touch anything he made. They refused to even get near him because how dare you make us spend millions? And then the next day there was a financial crash. Isn't that funny? It's kind of weird. Anyway, that's the investee call news that I missed. Such a weird video. Next up, this one says 3 wee wins. 3 reasons why Ripple's XRP price hasn't returned to $1. These are the news that I missed because I missed them why? I saw news. This is posted from the 18th of March. That is 3 days ago. It's been about a good week and a half, 2 weeks. The amount of articles I've seen talking negatively about XRP or any, no, they don't talk negatively about Ethereum that often. It's usually always just XRP. And the really weird part is that they keep mentioning that XRP hasn't returned to $1. The other really weird part is that none of the other coins have even gone back to a third of where they were before. Like Ethereum's currently at 128. It was at 1,400 before. That's still below a tenth of where it was. Very odd. I skipped over these news on purpose. A lot of things have been, and a lot of people. I don't know. I guess maybe it's just. I don't want to say Schadenfreude. It's definitely like everyone like, ooh, she's not doing too well, let's make fun of her kind of thing in the cryptocurrency space. A lot of people also forget that the other coins that they're also holding aren't doing too well. Regardless of if XRP has slipped more than other coins, you can't really brag right now because you've also probably lost money, or your coin's in the red, or your coin's just not up where it was in 2017. So I decided not to have all the tabs up here for the other 3 reasons why XRP hasn't gone back to $1. It's because other coins haven't. If Ethereum hits around $400-500 and XRP still isn't around 80-90 cents, I'll go, okay, there's a problem. But as of right now, the whole market's down. So I don't get the fascination of this. Anyway, let's move it on. Next up, the CTO of the crypto exchange BitMex revealed that they came under an aggressive DDoS attack, that is a denial of service attack, on Thursday when they went offline for more than 25 minutes. One of the world's leading derivatives cryptocurrency exchanges, BitMex, has been the topic of discussion, not really, since the 12th of March when the price of Bitcoin dropped to as low as 3,600. I wish I had caught it. $3,600 US. The derivatives exchange went offline for around 25 minutes when the price of Bitcoin dropped to historic lows. Derivatives exchange BitMex liquidated $1.2 billion worth of long contracts on Thursday when the price of the leading cryptocurrency plunged below 4,000 on the 12th of March. It was one of the most intense long squeezes in crypto history. BitMex confirmed it had come under an aggressive denial of service attack when it went offline for around 25 minutes. There's a tweet right there. The chief technology officer of BitMex, Samuel Reed, confirmed on Twitter that the exchange suffered a botnet attack on Thursday of last week. He also noted that the same botnet was responsible for an attack in February of this year. The botnet attack exposed flaws in its, I think, AWS's Amazon Web Service servers. According to the CTO, he further added that botnet owners had access to an endpoint that was consistently, reliably slow. The point is, I guess this is the news that we had when this ended up happening is that when the cryptocurrency market was dropping very fast, I'm sure a lot of you remember this moment. It was a very weird time in all of our lives. I believe it was BitMex, not Binance, BitMex, the Gemini twins, and third crypto exchange, can't remember their name. They all apparently went offline within like an hour of each other, and people were like, the assumption is that as Bitcoin was dropping from around 6,000, 5,000, 50-something, 4,500 over the course of a couple of minutes, and it hit around 3,000, I think it was 720 was the number that I remember in my head. A lot of these crypto exchanges went offline, and the idea was that someone has simply pulled the plug out of the wall, not how it actually happens, pulled the plug out of the wall, and they were like, nope, stop everything, because the price is dropping too fast. As BitMex is one of the largest crypto exchanges and usually has a lot of liquidity, people were pointing the finger saying that they were manipulating the market, that they were so-and-soing. I think as a multi-billion-dollar company, you probably are smarter than to simply unplug. The Gemini twins are also very straight edge. I don't know them. I assume they're very straight edge, so I assume they wouldn't have also pulled the plug out of the wall, as it were. A DDoS attack does seem a lot more believable. However, I assume this saga will go on for a while because people never seem to believe when anything random or haphazard could have happened, but this is what took place. A lot of people say, or were saying, that if these exchanges had not gone offline, I think Coinbase also said that they had something happened to their systems. I don't remember the exact word they used. Apparently, people were saying that if all these exchanges had not done this, that Bitcoin could have gone as low as 1,000. Maybe. I doubt it. I don't think my soul wouldn't have let it go that low. There was also news that I don't have up here because it was littered, and I mean littered with the C word. Like it was every other word. Like say a sentence, but put every other word as a C word. It was like that. Changpeng Zhao had apparently come forward when the drop had happened last week, and he was saying a lot of people were talking about, yeah, Bitcoin's going to zero. Bitcoin's definitely going to, like, it was a huge amount of things about Bitcoin going like to zero, not to $1, not to 50 cents. It was like a legit zero. And Changpeng Zhao was like, he said in a tweet, he was like, yeah, I'll never let it go to zero. And people were like, ooh, he's going to manipulate the market. Did you all hear that? He said, and it's like, no, you trying to use my words nicely. Think logically. He means if the price is dropping low, he's probably going to buy it. Think of all of you out there. If you saw, you may not even like Bitcoin. If you saw Bitcoin going for 28 cents, you would probably sell your house just to buy as much as you possibly could in the off chance that it would go up. This is what he meant. And everyone is so desperate to look for like, oh my gosh, look at what Changpeng Zhao said. He you know what he said. Anyway, hold on half a second. I have to drink some tea. My life. Hold on. Oh gosh, it's incredibly hot. Why didn't I blow on it? Okay, yeah, that's the BitMex News DDoS attack. Whew, let's move on. Oh, it's delicious though. I got a for those of you who care, and those of you who don't know, the news I missed videos were kind of like they weren't candid. I just didn't really like put as much effort into being professional, which I'm not at all, but I just kind of talk a bit more freely because why not? I mean, like literally why not at this point? I made tea. I sliced up ginger, added in turmeric, added in some cinnamon, and then put honey into it. It's incredible. It's one of the best things I've ever tasted in my life. So if you are coughing, wheezing, need something to taste good, do that. It's delicious. Some countries have been late to the party when it comes to recognizing and regulating digital assets. The first time that Singapore Central Bank issued a framework for the regulation of payment-related activities was the 28th of January with the Payment Services Act. However, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, or the MAS, still saw the potential risks that digital assets could pose to the economy, such as money laundering and, sure, as part of the effort to address this, the MAS issued a notice on the 5th of December regarding the prevention of money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism. Can't read. The notice detailed anti-money laundering and requirements for digital payment token services, including risk assessment and risk mitigation, customer due diligence, reliance on third parties, correspondent accounts, and wire transfers, record keeping, suspicious transactions reporting, and internal policies. What else is there? Did they miss anything? On the 16th of March, the MAS clarified their previous notice with a 73-page, oh my gosh, set of guidelines for digital payment token service providers. They said recent rapid technological improvements has a far-reaching impact, including in the world of payments. Enhancements in financial technology in particular has opened up new opportunities for faster and more efficient payment methods. However, these new payment methods also give rise to new anti-money laundering and proliferation financing. The point is, that's why I didn't talk about it, because a lot of this is complete nonsense. So the Monetary Authority of many countries are now coming out with their AML KYC guidelines. Not because you or your family are going to be financing anything terrible or are going to be laundering money. It's because this is, you have to say these things. Where is it? You have to say that out loud so that they say that it's for your protection and that things are for you, when it's just that they really want to have extreme control over everything. The digitization of everything will provide us with a very different world where everything transaction-wise can be tracked, and this is why I still wait in earnest of Bitcoin having private transactions, because I would like to know how the world will react when such an event takes place. So this is yet another country. I mean, I think we spoke about one in the last video as well. I think it was Canada. Yeah, something here. They're doing the exact same thing where everyone is getting in line with the, oh gosh, is it CFTC? What's the word? I can't find the word. And it's nowhere here. No, the FATF, the Financial Action Task Force. They're the ones making the crypto rules, and everyone has to follow them. But it's just about control. It's about figuring out where the money's going, because heaven forbid should they not have their boot on everyone's neck. Let's move on. Next up, the third season of Westworld. If you've never watched Westworld, do it. HBO's futuristic themed thriller hit screens yesterday, starring a dubious app inspired by blockchain. The app, dubbed RICO, an acronym for Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations, okay, after the 1970 U.S. Act of the same name, is essentially a peer-to-peer economy, but for criminals. Apparently, RICO is an obvious parody of an algorithmic gig economy down to the extreme. It's facilitated in part by the idea of blockchain. I don't think people understand how seismic that shift is going to be. A lot of people don't. This is why I always am glad that we're here now. So apparently, the creator of Westworld is obsessed with blockchain. And blockchain was mentioned, or blockchain-like was in the Westworld TV show. So it had to be news. This is why I give you the. That's why I give you the good stuff. That's why I give you the news that's fit to print. That doesn't make any sense because people don't read newspapers anymore. Sure. The point is, I mean, I guess even more so, if you've never seen Westworld, please do so. You are doing yourself a disservice by not. It's one of the greatest shows ever made. That's not a joke. It's actually incredible. And there was blockchain inspired technology, and that's it. Yeah, that's as far as that news goes. Here's another really big one. Coinbase's chief legal officer, Brian Brooks, is leaving the crypto exchange to become the second in command at the U.S. Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. The OCC announced Brooks' appointment on Monday, saying U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin designated Brooks as the new deputy effective on April Fool's Day. Brooks, a former Fannie Mae executive vice president, general counsel, and corporate secretary, has served as a chief legal officer at Coinbase since September 2018. Mnuchin said in a statement, he looks forward to working with Brooks to ensure the stability of our financial system. I'm sure you're connecting dots already in your head. The OCC is responsible for supervising and regulating national banks and financial institutions within the U.S. established in 1863. The independent entity ensures banks are meeting capital and risk requirements, according to Investopedia. What we see happening a lot now is people, Kelly Loeffler, who were, and I assume still heavily are, in the cryptocurrency space, are moving into very big boy chairs in U.S. positions. Kelly Loeffler, who was the head of BACT, who has, one can only assume, a huge stake in Bitcoin and or the cryptocurrency space, is now a U.S. senator. Coinbase's chief legal officer is leaving to become the second in command of the comptroller of the currency to ensure the stability of our financial system. I hope everyone's connecting dots very easily. I remember when Kelly Loeffler became a senator, my friend blew my phone up. Never ever have I had so many texts at one, because he put it together a lot quicker than I did. I saw the news and I was like, oh, that's cool for her. Cool. Merry Christmas. He put it together very fast. There are a lot of people within the cryptocurrency space who know other people. It's the same exact thing when we used to talk about, when they had more news about Ripple. When you look at the heads and directors and tops of Ripple, they're all either former bankers or people who make currency laws or who run banks in other countries or who make monetary laws within the US. That's why I'm like, how can you not be bullish on that? Anyway, right. Someone who used to work at Coinbase as their chief legal officer is now going to take a senior role as a US bank regulator. A lot of times I think that people assumed, I myself included, that the cryptocurrency space would evolve quite differently. And it's evolved, but in ways I think people kind of didn't assume would happen. We are seeing a shift, in my eyes, of not only power, but also in money. I still wholeheartedly believe, if you think, and I'll use the I word, if you think inequality is a very big thing now, as far as like the rich having all the stuff, imagine a situation where, imagine if there were only 21 million US dollars. And over the course of that, someone burned 6 million of them. Someone lost them. They threw them into a boat down a river. They're completely gone. You can't make any more. There's no more printers. None. And then at some point, tons of people start buying up all the US dollars while you're using something called like Apple paper, Apple dollars. You keep using your Apple dollars, but for some reason, these people are accumulating a huge amount of US dollars. And you're like, why are they buying up so many US dollars? The US dollar goes up and down in price. No one can really figure it out. If there ever is a shift, like a major shift from the current financial system to a crypto-centric one, which seems believable, these people are going to be incredibly wealthy. It's the same exact thing. If you, I mean, and this has been said by many analysts as well, if you even have a whole Bitcoin, you're good. Imagine if you had more Bitcoin than that. Imagine if you, I don't even know how much Bitcoin this guy has, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, if we see this shift, the amount of people, even the head of BitMex, I'm going to assume he has more than 3 Bitcoin. Random guess. These will be the richest people on this planet, and everyone else will be scrounging, trying desperately to get as many Satoshis as possible. And the people who worked in the cryptocurrency space, who know in some sort of way how to push the space forward, we'll be making the laws that will make it easy for the cryptocurrency space to flourish. Isn't that odd? Anyway, people often ask why not that I'm chipper, or why I'm usually so bullish on cryptocurrencies. It's because of news like this. It's so obvious. Like, it's always directly in our face as well. Like, it's never like a speculative thing. Anyway, that's the US bank regulator senior smiling guy news for today. Next up, 2 Italian high schools will begin issuing unchangeable and easily shareable digital diplomas with the Ethereum blockchain. The measure, as reported by Cointelegraph Italia on the 12th of March, seeks to make the entire process of issuance and traceability transparent, but above all, to solve a long-standing problem in the country: fake diplomas. If you've never watched a documentary or a video, anything about fake diplomas, do it. It's very fascinating. A lot of people, there have been doctors who have faked all of their credentials because it's paper. They fake all these things that they've done. I'm not joking. Like, it sounds insane, but it's happened before. There have been tons of fake doctors, fake dentists, fake anything you can kind of think of, not just in Italy, but all over the world, all over the entire world, because all of this is paper. There have been a lot of people who've worked in law offices who knew exactly what kind of paper to use. They printed it out. They make it look, you can age paper and stuff like that. And they end up getting these high-paying jobs with fake diplomas. The mentioned schools are located in Rome and Crotone. The Liceo Internazionale di Villa Flaminia in Roma will rely on a blockchain-based system developed by the Ernst & Young company, while the l'Istituto di Istruzioni Superiori, I can't read that name. I can't. It's too much. From Crotone has partnered with Blockchain Italia. 2 reasons why I had this one in this video. One, the idea of a digital diploma makes sense, and I assume we're going to be seeing a lot more of these as the years go on. 2, I don't know if you've seen all the memes floating around. I have. Me and my friends during this time I've at least sent around 38,000 memes back and forth. With the current events going on and a lot of people graduating in a couple of months, I don't know if you've seen the memes going around as to how the class of 2020 is going to have to graduate, and it's usually like some type of like a digital thing. I saw one, this guy's like sitting on a computer at home with his cap on, but still in his pajamas, like I'm sorry, it's just really funny. Anyway, you have to find a way to make light of the situation, otherwise you'll go insane. Anyway, yeah, I guess the news is that these high schools are using not only Ethereum, but are also going to be issuing digital diplomas. It just logically makes sense. Try to find those memes. I'm sure you can find a bajillion of them. Anyway, that's the blockchain Italy diploma news for today. Next up, according to a press release, software developer, philanthropist, and Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates will depart from the company's board. Now 64 years old, the business magnate started Microsoft alongside Paul Allen in 1975. Unimportant. Microsoft announced a blockchain token and data management service at the end of 2019 that would be a new tool for users in its enterprise Azure service, Gates himself has also recently backed a blockchain-enabled security service for fintech companies operating in Africa and Asia called Crest, writing a check for $1.4 million earlier this month to help financial technology companies in these areas bring financial services to unbanked populations. Microsoft's release explains that Gates' departure from the board is about making more time for his philanthropy and effort towards tackling climate change. There are a number of people who have stepped up and come forward to say that they are going to start doing blockchain technological things within Africa, and Bill Gates is one of them. This was kind of headline news that Bill Gates had officially left, air quotes, Microsoft. He still holds an enormous amount of stock, if you will, but I assume at 64 years old, you're kind of like, I'll go live on one of my private islands somewhere. It's actually very fascinating. It's kind of like the end of an era to see something like this happening. Because we all know exactly who Bill Gates is and what he did and why he became so rich. Good luck to him on his endeavors. Yeah, not really much more to say about that one. It's like it's a very weird transitional year. I'm sure it's that way for everyone. A lot of new things popping up. I hope it all works out in the end. There's so much attention being paid to smaller countries and smaller economies. And I hope that the idea that these will be the places that allows cryptocurrency to flourish remain true, but only time will tell. Next up, the Bank of England is considering launching a central bank digital currency as cash usage declines. As per a recent report, officials at the UK published a discussion document in which they argued about the issuance of a central bank digital currency. The United Kingdom is not the first administration to consider launching a central bank digital currency, as it is preceded by China, also like the Bahamas and like 8 other places, which has worked on their project for quite a while now. The report shows statistics that suggest that fiat currency has become widely unpopular among citizens. This is especially true for paper-based currency, as the number of customers transacting in physical fiat has decreased sharply across the recent years. 3 years ago, debit cards overtook cash and became the most common form of payment within the region. Debit cards accounted for nearly 40% of transactions in 2018, while physical money was only involved in around 28% of total transactions. Do you know why this is happening? It's not anything, not that it's not nefarious, but it's more like it's easier. Have you been to a supermarket recently and had someone stand in front of you and they're told to pay $28.47 and they take out a whole bunch of money and coins and they're counting it in their hands, and then they have to hand it to the cashier, and then the cashier then has to also count it to make sure that they weren't lying? It takes like 5.5 minutes. Nobody wants to wait that long. You want to tap your card, you want to swipe your card, you want to walk out of the door. It's about the convenience of being able to do it. So I'm not surprised, especially whenever I'm in London. I don't think I've held a pound coin in a very long time. I found them on the street, not like I'll put it in my pocket, but that's as far as it goes. Yeah, so expect, I gave it 6 months. Where? March, April, May, June, July. I'll give it between August and September. I expect the Bank of England will announce that they're thinking of creating their own central bank digital currency, which will probably have been in the works for a couple of months at that point, and probably around mid-2021, 2022, we'll see the first issuance of it, and it'll probably be exactly what the other countries were doing as well. It'll only be through banks first, until they figure out a way to streamline it to actual citizens. I don't know why they think they're being, I don't think the word is slick. Like they think they're being like clever. It's so obvious exactly what's going on. We had the news a couple of months ago. One of the people from, was it Bank of America or JP Morgan Chase, who was sitting on that, not the council, was sitting on a stage talking to a bunch of other people. And people were asking him, like, what do you think about digital payments? He's like, well, we'd like if everything was digital. It allows us to be able to track transactions more. I don't think the Bank of England is considering a central bank digital currency to make life easier for you. Probably the last thing they're thinking of doing. Anyway, expect one in your mailbox relatively soon. I don't know what I'm saying. Let's move on. Next up, the Australian Taxation Office is sending out warnings to more than 350,000 crypto holders regarding accurate tax reports. The tax agency has been conducting investigations into the irregularities in crypto tax. For those of you who don't know, in 2017, when the crypto market went completely insane, in 2018, I think like a couple hundred people in the US actually paid their crypto taxes. There were people who made money. I mean, like they made between tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, and none of these people paid their taxes. And as such, the IRS was a little peeved. I made sure to tell a bunch of people, I was like, if you're going to do anything with crypto, like this is my strategy, because I know, yeah, I only buy. I don't sell. I don't trade. I don't do anything of the sort, because, yeah, they are vicious in what they're trying to find. According to the news from news.com.au, they report hundreds of thousands of Australian citizens are set to receive a stern warning from the Australian Taxation Office in the coming weeks. As tax authorities take on crypto traders, the tax agency is in the process of contacting up to 350,000 individuals via emails and letters to inform them of their tax obligations when they trade in crypto. Cryptocurrencies are considered to be a form of property and are treated as assets for capital gain tax purposes in Australia. Any gains made from the trading of cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin are subjected to capital gains tax in the country and must be reported with the Australian Taxation Office. What's the tax rate? Does it say? No. I was wondering what the tax rate was in Australia. I assume it's not favorable to the cryptocurrency market at all. Yeah, this is definitely happening. I knew a bunch of people in 2016, 2017 who tried their hand at trading, like really tried. Just be cautious isn't the word. Just figure it out. Figure out what the laws are in your country. Make sure to follow them. And the safest way always is just buy, don't sell. Sorry to a couple of people. I mean, I didn't do it, but sorry to a couple of people in the comment section. I saw people saying that they sold Bitcoin when it was around, I think 4,000, because they were waiting for it to hit 1,000, and then it bounced back up to like 5,000, and then they can't get back that 4,000. So a lot of people have been selling. Stop panic selling. It's. If you've been here for more than a year, you know that there's no point in your life when you should be panic selling, because the prices usually has thus far always gone back up. And if you sell when whales are pushing the price down, you're probably not going to be able to catch the bottom or be able to make money off of it because you sold your crypto. The best way to make money, or the least stressful way, is just to buy and hold and leave it, set it, come back in a couple of years. Imagine if you had bought Bitcoin in 2012 and had tried trading all of it, you'd probably have a lot less Bitcoin. But if you had bought Bitcoin in 2012 and just held it, you'd be wealthy. So, if anyone lives in Australia, if you can tell me the taxation rate, what a weird question, of things, or the capital gains taxation tax rate in Australia, it hopefully is less than 25%. Once again, kudos to every other country who has a taxation rate less than 3% on capital gains tax, if not 0. Yeah, so that's the... Yeah. And to end things on a great note, a former Bitcoin miner hobbyist has stumbled upon an old wallet containing 1,000 Bitcoin, in addition to many Bitcoin forks. On the 10th of March, a thread was posted to Bitcoin Talk by a self-described newbie making their first return to crypto after a long hiatus, seeking advice on accessing an old Bitcoin stash. The user, whose name is Who Am I Soon, claimed to have mined some Bitcoin a long time ago using a GPU and had recently located the wallet.dat file. Why was that difficult? On a USB storage device. The former miner sought advice on how to make the move to move the Bitcoins. Also asking if they had the same quantity of Bcash in the wallet and how they might be able to sell that Bcash. The user was pleasantly surprised to discover that they would be able to access a myriad of forked coins, writing, "Didn't know there were so many forks. Awesome. Love it." Later that day, 1,000 Bitcoin that had been mined on the 24th of August, 2010 were identified to be moving on the Bitcoin blockchain. Wow, my gosh, that was 10 years ago, leading many to speculate that the coins maybe belong to Who Am I Soon. The coins appeared destined for Coinbase. On the 12th of March, the user returned to thank the 4 members who had assisted him in realizing his Bitcoin bounty, stating, "Thank you all for the suggestions. It was overall a great return, I'm sure, and the best welcome one can get. Keep it up. I can see it helping others that are in my shoes as well." The post suggested that Who Am I Soon may have liquidated their holdings prior to the 13th of March, meaning that they cashed out at around 7,000 or 8,000 per Bitcoin, which means that person made between 7.5 million and 8 million US dollars after having mined Bitcoin for probably a week, let it sit on their computer, and waited for 10 years. The value of the corresponding Bcash and BSV forked coins amounted to around roughly $500,000 as well. That's incredible. That's actually completely incredible. I hope that person is living life to the fullest. I mean, I'd probably take that money and go to an island, not buy it, but I'd definitely go to an island for a couple of weeks. Yeah, I thought I'd end it on a great note. That is, I dare not even use the words "can you imagine," because we can all imagine. I would love to, I'd love to just find $8 million on a computer or a USB. Can you imagine? Anyway, that's incredible. And I won't even lie. I think in a situation where if I found out I had $8 million on a USB, no. I was going to say I would sell all of it. I don't think I would. I'd be pretty comfortable selling around half of it. If I had sold it, half of it, 4 million, and then $500,000 from the BSV and Bcashes, I think I'd be fairly okay with 4.5 million. 4 million into a rental property gets you roughly around 6,000 per month, 612. That's 24,000 a month you would get just for rental property from selling the Bitcoin. And also, I'd leave the $500,000 in my account just to invest in other things that I fancied along the way. Anyway, good job to that person. And yeah, that's not even all of it. If you can tell me if you want another news I missed. There's a lot of news I missed. I mean, the crypto news space has just been flooded with nonsense. If you want to hear more nonsense, if you enjoyed my ramblings, let me know, and I may be able to procure more very fine cryptocurrency news. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all have had, continue to have, want to have, in the process of having a very nice day, morning, afternoon, and or evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and for listening. I'm tired of talking. I have no idea how long this video is. I can't see the actual number, but whew. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.